You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
And away we go. We are back, just like Jacob DeGrom is back. We're back at the kitchen table, the Firehouse kitchen table, the Gettin Salty Experience podcast, the only one in the whole wide world that brings the Firehouse kitchen table to you. Sports, entertainment, not politics, but sometimes. Everything else.
So the Mets have been winning without DeGrom?
Winning? Come on, dude.
They beat the Yankees 2 games. I watched the game. Not the whole game, but I watched it. So they're winning with that. What happened to him? Did he hurt his pinky toe or something? What happened?
His shoulder, his pinky toe. I forgot. Big bad hockey guy here.
I mean, what's the matter with him?
No.
What happened? He had a little strain, a little sprain or something? What happened?
I can't talk to you. Listen, just because they have no teeth in their mouth, all right, doesn't mean anything.
They do have bare knuckle fights on the ice, which is pretty gnarly on skates. So I'm
not taking anything away from hockey players. They're good athletes.
No, I'm just saying, maybe the guy hurt his, he pulled a little ligament in his pinky toe or something.
My God. Right, if you're a pitcher, that might hurt.
It
might be a problem.
Right?
Possible.
Exactly. But he's back. We're back. This is the only Firehouse kitchen table in the world. Self-proclaimed best podcast.
And
anyway.
We're punctual. I mean, we are on the money every
dude.
time. I can't believe how many times we show up at 8 o'clock. I can't
and you
believe
would not know what goes on before this to get right before.
Especially today.
Yeah, we got a real hard charger.
I like his hat.
I like his hat. I like him. I think he's like shot out of a cannon. You know why I like him? Because anything flies out his mouth. He's short and he works out. So can you figure out why I like him? I like him a lot. He had me at hello. He really did. He had me at hello.
He's a good dude so
He
far.
said, what happened, Pete? Look like you stopped working out or something. He said,
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
That was good, right, Roof? I hit him with that one.
Coops hit Petey with that, and Petey was but then he gave him the flex. He still got the guns though. Petey's
got something in there. Yeah, look at that, perfect. Yeah,
I don't know. He was doing. What was he doing this weekend? He was sending us pictures. He was like shooting
running around
balls or something. What was he doing?
Paintballs, running around each other. Half naked.
Was that paintball?
Yeah.
Was it?
What?
No. What was it? I didn't even know what it was.
I don't even know what. What's a paintball?
Oh, they call it. Yeah, it's airsoft. It's
what's an airsoft? Never heard of it.
It's the thing where you run around.
No, you got to get hit with the paint. The paint is harder. The airsoft does it hurt when you get hit with the airsoft?
You know what? It does. It just I like it because you get to run.
They're not paintballs.
No.
Airsoft. What is it you get hit with?
Like a BB, like a plastic BB.
Well, how do you know that I'm hit? Then I can just fake it.
Yeah, it's like an honor sport. You know what I mean? Like you get hit. There's no point in it if you don't call
golf.
your hits.
It's honor. You have to have some honor. You have to be truthful.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I was running around doing that. It was fun. We run around with night vision at 3 a.m. That was great.
In your underwear?
In my underpants.
What happens when you got like the big plastic, RoboCop thing? How do you know you get hit with a plastic BB?
Well, you definitely feel it. There's no, you can't get around it. Sometimes, it hurts. It hurts good. But listen, I played paintball for a while. I prefer to get hit with plastic BBs. It's like you don't have to clean your shit afterwards.
We should go. Me and you should go.
Just go wild and show them how to do it.
We should get Pete on one side and me and you on the other, like on my property, like 3 acres, and let's do it.
Oh, look,
Please, God, let's do it. I'm praying to you.
I'll go.
I'm not buying anything, though, Pete.
Dude, I'll go.
I'll supply all the gear.
Dude, I'll go print it on him. I'll set up
gun.
like a swinging stump so when he goes by,
listen, I just know one thing. I'm going to be like laying in mud. I'm not moving. Coobs is going to be like banging around all over the place. Pete's going to focus on you.
You're gonna be like, come on, kill me.
Come on, do it.
Come on, do it.
I'll be the decoy.
Coob's going to be like this. Look, you see him?
It was good though. We played with I played with the guy who's just got out of the Rangers. He's an Army Ranger. It was chasing a 20-something-year-old kid up a hill all weekend long is no.
And what happened when you caught him? Oh, he's a Ranger.
I've never done this before.
I've never done this before to a Ranger. Only a silly.
I broke a few seals. You know what I mean?
That's a little ice cream. That's just a little ice cream.
Yeah, it was fun though.
Let's
Good
get
stuff.
serious because we got a serious guy coming on.
Yeah.
All right, let's get our act
We
together.
got to pay the bills. We got to pay the bills. You know.
Do it. Come on.
All right. So everybody, we try always and strive hard to bring you the best sponsors in the game, of course. And tonight we bring you once again New Jersey Fire Equipment Company.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
Okay.
Great job.
Real quick,
Right.
quick, guys,
Get
GettinSaltyApparel.com, where you will find t-shirts like this, the Warren Fuchs inspired Saddle Up t-shirt, my all-time favorite. Hats like the one Lou's wearing, the t-shirt one Lou's wearing. We've got tumblers and shot glasses and all kinds of amazing firefighter apparel and accessories. That's how we support ourselves here on the show. So shoot over to GettinSaltyApparel.com to buy yourself or the firefighter in your life a little something today. Also, guys, if you're watching this live, hit us up in the super chat. You guys are our number one sponsors. You guys are our number one syndicators. You guys are everything.
Luke's
so
the man.
if you got a little something, shoot it to us. We'd appreciate it.
Shoot the J.
No worries.
Shoot it.
No worries.
I think Luke's got the loot. Shoot it.
Luke does have the loot. And thank you, Luke, every week. And super thanks as well, guys. If you're watching this post-mortem, that means not live. Shoot us a super thanks if you want to. If you can, it helps us out tremendously. So
Excellent.
that is
Ray Strong said Coobs might be slightly taller than the chief.
Really?
Wow, Luke went in already.
That's why we connected already. He works out. I told you. Shit flies out of his mouth like crazy, and he's
boom.
I don't think Ray Strong works out though.
No, let's bring him in here. Let's get him right in here. Let's get him in here. Let's bring him in here.
Thank you, Darren.
Mitch CROOKER. There he is.
Look at the hat.
Listen, if the height here is a problem, I got these explosive pieces.
Look at the
Come on, man.
Look at the guns on him. Look at
If you mess with me too much, you're gonna get it from this problem.
Oh my god!
Listen, when you have your own,
bobblehead, you've made it. You've made it when you have your own bobblehead.
Let's go, Brandon.
Listen,
Come on,
gentlemen,
man.
thanks for having me on your show. It's an honor and a privilege to be your guest tonight. I really do appreciate it.
It's our privilege.
That's right.
It's
right.
not easy following Bobby Hoff, Steve Chikarotis, or Mike Timothy. Not
Never heard
easy
of
at all.
Who are those guys? Off Chikarotis.
Legendary guys.
You know who they are, Coobs? Couple of jagoffs.
And one plug out to Tim Oak and Gordy Nord, the chief of the Lions Fire Department, for forwarding me some of the images that I had sent you guys for this show. So,
Somebody says that you're not wearing pants. Is that true?
Actually,
Oh boy, here we go.
Lino. It's got to be Lino.
Look at Coobs coming right out of the box, hot. Like,
Oh, yeah, there we
If
go.
you had any idea how many times I was defensed in my career, you guys you'd all be rich.
All right, listen. Let's get before we get too deep in the weeds because this is going nowhere good. I see it. So, let's get the pledge out. Let's get patriotic.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. As we always do, the most patriotic podcast in the game, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen, brother. Amen. Oh, he's got pants on. Look.
Oh.
Nice package, Chief. Nice package.
You liked it, huh? It's a qualification to get on the squad.
All right, Pete. Nice. Word of the day before we get lost.
Yeah.
For all you drunken bastards in there.
All right, as you guys all know,
jack-offs.
Well, there may be a few like new people to the show. So if you don't know, we have something called the Word of the Day. The Word of the Day means you take a shot. It's a little drinking game that we play on the show. So today's word of the day is Brandon.
Whoa!
Oh, man. Come on, man.
Get on board.
Come on, man.
Get on the train, baby.
Right. So let's go back a little bit, Chief. You're from Chicago. What part of Chicago? You're originally from Chicago? You're from Illinois, outside of Illinois? Where are you from originally?
Yeah, Chicago. Actually, I lived at two spots on the south side of Chicago, within 6-7 blocks of each other in the Roseland neighborhood. After that, I had about a 8-year stint in Northwest Indiana. And then once I got back on the fire department, I came back to the city.
Well, do you have any family in the fire department? What led you towards the fire service?
It's an interesting story. My father was on the fire department. He got on the job in 1955. He went off on a medical in 1990, and he passed away in 1990. As well as he had a pretty significant illness that ended up taking him, but he was on the job for 35
years.
And he is unequivocally the reason why I'm here today. That whole story.
Firefighter, or he became an officer? What?
He was promoted to engineer, which would be a chauffeur in New York.
I like him.
In 1963, actually. So he had 8 years as a fireman. He got promoted engineer. He didn't want anything past that. It was good enough for him. And
look at Coop smiling.
Yeah. That's Coop. Spot, baby. That's me right there.
That was your father too, right, Coops? Your father was basically he drove,
chauffeur. Right? Never went any further than that. I had to have one brother, right? And my brother Rich too.
It's interesting, just how it all came to be. I've been to the firehouse a number of times as a kid, but it started when I was 11 years old. And what happened was we moved. And back then, no internet, no technology, no nothing. You lost track of everybody virtually forever. 95% of the people you knew, and they were the only ones you knew at a young age. Never seen or heard from them again. So we go out to the new neighborhood. And I'm driving my mom nuts, absolutely nuts. My dad comes home from his side job. He goes, "You're going to the firehouse with me tomorrow." He goes, "No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Your mom needs a day away from you." Man, we fought and fought and fought. I got my ass kicked. I can't think of how many times. Well, he won. I went to the firehouse the next day, and it's kind of interesting. I went to the firehouse the next day. He says, "And while you're sitting here doing nothing," he threw me a book. It was Dennis Smith's book, Report from
Wow.
I sat on that floor for 1 hour next to the pole. I got up. I read 2 chapters of that book. I went back in the kitchen to my father. He thought I was going to start going off on him again. And he says, "Don't even start." He says, No. This is exactly what I'm going to do in life right here. 2 chapters of his book.
No way.
Being the atmosphere in the firehouse. That's all it took. I never looked back.
Was he was in an engine company?
Yes.
What was he in? What in
he He went off the job on engine 74 on the far southeast side. At that particular time, it was nothing but old timers who had paid their dues, on running companies throughout the day. And they went there to spend their last couple of years and
chill out
from
go to
there.
pasture. Yep.
Yes, go out to pasture,
but still have the kitchen table, right?
Yeah.
So where did you guys ever get a chance to work together? I mean, I don't want to go too far forward, but
no, actually, so we didn't work together because he was in a single engine house. We did work the same shift when I was a probationary firefighter. I spent a year on the south side, not far from him, but we can't work with, immediate
Relatives. Yeah. I got you.
Can't do it. So I never got to work with him.
But you were on the job at the same time.
I was on the job.
So he's seen you get on the job. Yeah. So he was
7 years. 7
Oh,
years.
so that must have been good for him. I mean, he must have been very proud of that, obviously.
Yeah, I think he got a kick out of it. And, I think, unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to see me progress through the ranks.
Right.
I think that he would have been very proud of me, and I wish that he had.
Yeah.
Such is life. I didn't have him a lot of years, but the ones that I did have him was high quality.
Yeah.
So
I say that to my brother, Chief, because my father saw my brother become lieutenant, and then he passed away, and my brother went all the way up to deputy chief, and right now he's the senior man on the job, on the entire job. He's got 40, 42 or 43 years. So I say all the time, Pop would have been tickled pink, man. He would have been.
Yes, he would.
Ecstatic, right?
He knows what's going on, man. He's got it figured out up there.
Exactly.
Yeah, he knows.
He's
Absolutely.
watching, and he knows what you're doing
Yeah,
right now.
they know.
He can't be happy with what's going on right here, right now. I don't know.
I think he's all right with it.
He said, "I know those two idiots would do something like this."
I knew these idiots. Let's go back to 2/16/83. Fire paramedic candidate. Later assigned to District 6 relief. So what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so I came on the job as a paramedic.
Right.
I went through the academy. I ended up getting a relief assignment. At the time, everybody went relief, and I technically relieved on the south side of Chicago, further south. Probably about 3/4 of the way. The south end of the city to the end of the city limit. So at the particular time, that's the way the district was structured. So I was a relief paramedic. I would go from ambulance to ambulance.
Oh, so you were just on the ambulance at that time?
Yeah, at that time,
83.
Yes.
And then you were there for 3 years, and then 86, you became a candidate. 7/16/86, so you did almost 3 years to Engine 81. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
So what did that? You have to go to an academy before that, though?
Yeah, I re-entered the academy in July of 86.
Right.
And so we were assigned in, what was it, about the first part of November. Okay, that's when we got assigned and we went out to the field. And so they don't do too much. And I wasn't very happy or pleased being assigned there. And everybody.
What's that, 81 you're talking about?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
how long is the academy, though? How long were you in there for?
At that particular time, we're in there about 3.5 months. Now they send you to EMT school and
I was going to say, do guys still do that, Chief?
It's 6 months now.
Do guys still do that, Chief, with becoming a paramedic first, or was that back then?
Well, the way things go today, it's almost a better way to achieve the dual.
Right, to get on the same with New York.
Yeah,
Back door. Put the picture of his Proby picture.
Yeah, no, we got your Proby picture here. Amazing. And here's your Proby class.
Who sent that? Who sent that?
Who sent that? Who
Me.
sent it?
I found that was me.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Middle or the end? Which one am I?
Hold on, let's see.
Wait a minute, which one?
I put you in the middle, I think, the tallest.
All right, I'll be him.
Oh my god, he looks salty too. Look at his face. He's like,
He's done.
You know what? Look at it. Kind of does.
What guild do you represent?
The Lolland.
Pop, what do you think?
Hey. All right. Here's your real.
Dude,
I don't know.
love doing short. Isn't it so funny? Is that ironic? I love short jokes,
Yeah.
bro.
Like, look at that tie. It's like putting spats on a pig.
Is that your?
I
What's
had
that,
hair.
is that your Ellis Island picture? What is that?
Holy
Like,
What
I
is
had
this
a-
your
I had a-
cadet one, or when you were going into the is this the
No,
the-
that was February of '83. That was the very start. I was going in as a medic then, so that's me then.
rock star?
Rob Procaccini in the chat says you represent the Jagoff Guild.
There's a lot of us.
my
Believe me, I'm ahead of it too. I was like the head of the little person task. force.
Dude, let me ask you a question. You look like a tough ass mother effer in that picture. Were you? Were you
just
scrappy
think it's
back then?
funny.
Were you scrapping it around a lot?
Yeah. I wanted to ask that too.
I did it all. I mean, at that time, I drank and I wouldn't take no shit from nobody. I was kind of like Mike Timothy, That's the way you got that kind of attitude, You know what I mean?
I love that guy.
So that was the start of it. I as you can see, I had some hair back then, and I even sported a mustache. And I wore that mustache.
80s, you had to have a mustache.
I wore that mustache all the way up to the day of the oral interview for my lieutenant's exam, and I shaved it off.
Really? And you never grew it back again? That was it?
No.
Yeah, because then you had to look young. Now you're trying to hang out to the youth.
Now
when you're young.
Now I'm trying to look young.
Is that it? I had mine all the way. I had the mustache to fireman when they came all the way down here.
Oh,
I had it all the way until I met
my
my
God.
wife, and she said, "What the hell is that on your face? You got to shave it." So that
Did
was
she
it.
make you get rid of it?
I
Yeah.
shaved it. That was
You
it.
look like an
Cost you
idiot.
A lot of money. Yeah.
Chief, I gotta ask you
You
this.
look like an idiot.
I know it's early for this kind of thing, but I gotta ask anyway. Like, if you right now, you've got all these years behind you, right? You got the respect of your community. You were a freaking chief in the Chicago FD, for crying out loud. If you could go back to this guy over here, all right, not
Which
the
guy?
lollipop guild, this guy, all right, and tell him, anything, any piece of advice, what would you go back to this guy and tell him?
Well,
That's a tough question.
I'll tell you, I would go back and I would say, look at yourself in a crystal ball and see yourself in the next 40 years. You're going to be the luckiest person on the face of the earth, because that's exactly what I was, the luckiest person on the face of the earth. And I truly am the poster child of a dream of a boyhood dream come true. There's nothing that I wanted to do but be a fireman. Call it what you will, but that was my true calling in life. That's what I wanted to be. And there was nobody that was going to take that away from me.
It's the greatest job in the world, ain't it? People, you can't tell that to people enough. It's the greatest job in the world.
I swear to God, I never worked a day in my life.
Nice.
Well, Ruffy, what's that saying?
That's
What
it.
is that?
If you love what you do, you never work a
never
day
work
in
a
your
day
life.
in your life.
And I just shy of 39 years, I was fortunate enough to never miss a day of work. And
Wow.
it was
What? Never?
never.
Never
Wow.
called out sick
No.
once.
No, never.
That's
No,
like getting
That's
the,
a record. That's
yeah.
a record.
I thought
Yeah.
Chief Steve was good. My brother had a folder that was like this big. Like I had no folder.
Believe me, there was a lot of luck involved and a lot of stupidity.
Can you imagine when he goes to retire? Let me get Mitch Croker's medical file here. Mitch Croker. Where's his file?
It was kind of like my dad's when he took ill and he went to see the fire department doctor, and he sat him down and he pulled his file out and he goes, Mr. Crooker, you've led a pretty interesting career. There's nothing here. And, yeah. So it just
good for you. That
runs in the
shows
family.
how tough he is, right? Never called it.
Well,
sick.
he's going to live to 95 at least. That's for sure.
I did come to work a handful of times that I never
Hurting. Yeah, of course.
Right.
Everybody plays hurt.
Let me ask you
no
a question.
doubt.
Did you ever go to work and look at the clock and say, "Oh, I can't wait for this day to be over. I can't." Never, right? Never.
Listen, if getting to work an hour early was being late,
Yeah, no doubt.
Right? How about when you're on vacation, you can't wait to get back to work, right? People are like, what's wrong with you?
you would be on a 5-day off, whatever it was, and it seemed like eternity. You'd be on a 20-day furlough period, and you wanted to kill yourself.
Yeah, no doubt.
What am I missing? I want to be there with the guys. I don't want to miss anything. You just want to be in that firehouse.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so let's talk about 81.
Wait, yeah. Was is that where you met Brandon at 81?
Hey!
No.
He's like, come on, man.
Come on, man.
So here's how that deal happened. So I'd been on the job for 3.5 years as a medic. So everybody knew who I was. There was no secret to it. It was the first class off of the new 1985 entrance exam. And I landed very well on it. I was in that first call. A lot of kids in that class that had relatives on the job. Some of them were chiefs and what have you not. And especially back then, if you were part of the in crowd, you were going to a good spot. I had nobody, and I did have somebody plugging for me. He was the captain of Truck 30 on the south side of the city, and that's where I was supposed to go. 2 weeks before we were graduating, I won't mention the name, but I was pulled out of the lineup for the afternoon roll call by the assistant director of training. And he pulled me out in the hall and he goes, "You have any intentions of going anywhere?" And I says, "No, sir." I says, "I just go where the department send me." He says, "Yeah, well, let me tell you what, if you have any intentions of going to a truck company, guess again. You're too small. You ain't going."
So he already got the word that you were going.
So, I mean, I couldn't tell the guy to go fuck himself, but excuse my
yeah.
language. I would have ended up at the airport or something like that. But I said, "Yeah, well, I'll show you, asshole." I says, "I'm not changing it. I'm going to Truck 30. I'm not changing anything. Let the cards fall where they will." Well, they fell, and it wasn't in my favor.
Hey,
They fell at 81 engine. That's where they fell.
Yeah, they fell there, and they didn't do much, believe me. But I worked with a bunch of nice old timers there. It was a very respectable place to be with them. They were very good to me.
Almost 2 years there, huh? That's a pretty long
I
time.
did. Well, I did 17 months there. Right. Is what it amounted to.
Not that you're counting exactly how many hours and minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we all know, Chief.
I did like 17. I did like 17 months.
Yeah, listen, when you go to a play, it's happened where guys go to it. Kev says it all the time. There's an ass for every seat, right? So. Yeah. So wherever you want to be, if you want to do more work, then it's your opportunity to that's your career. You get to move on and, no hard feelings, and that's it. If you go there and you have a side job and this wasn't something that you really, you don't really care if you go to fires or not, then that's for you. Right. Yeah. So that's how it works. So if you're finishing up your career, then, that's how it works, man.
It was brutal because I wanted to go to fire. Yeah. And I mean, that's what I came on this job to do, was go to fires.
I'm sure some of the guys there even said, "Hey, listen, kid, you got to get out of here," or something.
They gave me anything I wanted.
Yeah.
To do everything.
Chief, unfortunately, I have to ask you this question because it came in on a super chat from Terry Riley. He wanted to know, did you ever get that circumcision?
Oh, Terry. I don't even know how to. I don't even know how to answer him. He's like, let's just put it this way. He's the nice guy, the very personal guy with the all-American clean guy, clean cut guy look. Like somebody you would like want your daughter to date.
Yeah, right. No,
I know
that guy. I know that guy.
No. Jerry can't keep his pants on for 5 minutes.
Don't make him a bad guy.
He can't do it. I'm telling you what. He don't. This is the opposite side of that old adage. You don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
This is
nice.
the other way around.
The only good thing is in 81. I'm sorry, Chief. Go ahead.
What? No.
The only good thing in 81 was that they had a good basketball team, right, Pete? Show that picture of the Chief in the basketball team.
Oh, no. They didn't do
it.
They didn't do it.
That was it. Excellent.
I tell you what, I was in the height of my glory.
The height. He said
the
height.
of my glory. Look at the look on my face. I've been waiting all my life for something like that.
Oh my gosh.
All my life.
Is that Kool-Aid? Is that the guy Kool-Aid?
Yeah, that's Anthony Frazier.
Is he still on the job?
He's still on the job.
Right.
And you know what?
Him.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I never get too close to Anthony Frazier because I think he's got me a little bit. Okay? I think I'm a little bit taller than him. Yeah. And
but
you know
on
what?
a good day or a bad day, you never know how it could work out.
I'm not giving up the title, though. I'm just
awesome.
not doing it. But this guy in the middle here, hands down, you can't hide it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that guy right there, he's on he's on like the 511 club, the canteen service, what have you. And he comes out and hydrates us up and feeds us at the big ones.
Very cool.
Nice guy. Very
Who
nice.
sent us that picture?
Timmy Oak said that to me.
And he has an absolute sense of humor. He wants to be involved in this kind of buffoonery. So
yeah. Well, we got that figured out, no doubt about that.
Oh, there's plenty of buffoonery going on tonight.
Chief, I got to ask you a question. Came in also from the chat as well. And this was a little better than that last one about circumcisions. But how long did you get your first job on an 81? Because it was in 77, right? Or when was it? Or no, first job in 81, 83.
Okay.
No, he got there.
So that was
in 86.
That was in mid-November of 86 is when I ended up going there.
I got you.
Okay. And so that was about an hour into my first shift.
Wow.
And
how big could it be?
It was a 1 or 2 room fire in a project building. It was it was an all concrete building. So it's just literally an oven, that's what they are. They're ovens. And there were some kids in there and there were reports of kids in there and they just went in there and searched around, found them and got them out. And that was about the first hour or so on that.
So, I mean, how bad could it be? Could have jobbed your first hour.
Was that the only one you caught for 17 months? I mean,
no, there wasn't many. There wasn't. So it was kind of an exciting first day. I didn't want anything to do with it, but they made a big deal of it, and there was some news broadcast and what have you not on it. But I did the best I can do. I says, here I'm with an hour on my first day in the street, got a job, get some kids out of there, and guys with 30, 35 years have been doing this their entire career. And I tried to point that out that it's not about me. It's about what they've been doing. So it was good publicity, good press. So not that I had a choice, but so be it.
So how hard was it? You're there 17 months, you transfer to 77. How hard was it to get over to engine 77? And tell us a little about this busy place over there.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, that is the creme de la creme of the West Side as far as I'm concerned. It's not easy to get there. I had some ambulance time seniority that pushed me, up to the front of the line of the 2 vacancies that were available at the time of my transfer request. And I got one of them. The company is no longer in service. It was disbanded in 2005. They had built a new firehouse on 16th Street, which is like 4 blocks north of where 77 is. And they brought engine 38 further north to 16th Street and housed them in there. And they disbanded 77. 77 was a single engine West Side company. And, we were doing fires every day. And in the 60s and 70s, they were doing 3 and 4 and 5 a day every day. Wow. They were by themselves. They were backed in a corner city, up next to a suburb where, many of their jobs, they were there for a good long while by themselves.
Yeah. Nice.
It was just an absolute pleasure to be at with phenomenal people.
That's what I was going to ask you, Chief. Who are some of the guys that stick out to you?
Great history, great men. that came from that house. They're absolutely legendary figures in the fire service in Chicago.
Throw some names out. Who are the guys that you work with or your bosses?
I'll tell you, I mean, it's on my shift. I had John Marolda was my captain. He ended up being promoted to battalion chief. A guy named Bernie O'Donnell was a fireman. He spent his entire career there.
Wow.
Came back as the captain. He was my captain.
Nice.
There. A guy named Kevin O'Malley, entire 30-year career in that house. He was the engineer. I work with Nick Cairo. He's a battalion chief now. Don Haroma. He is a former deputy fire commissioner, now retired. I work with Keith Bozenda. He ended up being a battalion chief.
Wow.
Mike Brannigan. I mean, we just phenomenal guys on my shift. And we had officers on the other shift, a guy named Jack Dwyer, an engineer named Harold Thompson. Harold Thompson, he was a former Marine. He served on Okinawa. These guys were the bomb. They were absolutely legends. They truly walked on water.
Did they, you guys was that a 5-man engine? How many guys rode on the rig with you guys?
Five.
It was a 5-man engine,
Yeah,
right?
we had 3 firemen, an engineer, and an officer. So we were all by ourselves. And, I caught some doozies out of there in my day. And you only leave that place for 2 reasons. You get promoted or you retire.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Somebody leaves for another reason, you got to think something's up.
Right. So would you guys, I guess somebody would take the set of irons in if you had the 4th entry, right? If you guys were there for yourself.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what,
That happens quite a bit.
we had a guy named Keith Bozenda. He was a human force entry tool. So I mean,
did you just jam him in the doorway?
Anything he touched. No, listen, anything he touched, he broke it. It didn't matter what it was, he broke it. You put him on the hydrant for the day, he'd break every stem of the hydrant. It didn't matter. You go out.
Total destruction in every position.
Total destruction. Yes, he could break anything. He can kick any door down. He can get in anywhere.
Chief, you sent us one photo from '77. I wanted to talk about this fire, but look at the gear, man. You guys bring your rubbers there.
Yeah, never mind what we're wearing. Look at me on the far left. I got hair on my head. Yeah. And if that puddle gets any deeper, I'll drop.
No, it was right here. I couldn't get it out.
I did want to say, for reference, it looked like you were standing off of a curb there, so it's not quite accurate.
Yeah, that was a grocery store, and what happened there was it was the 4th of July, 1988, and it was hot that whole month of July. We didn't see a drop of rain. Every day was 90 degrees or better. The humidity was through the roof. It was just a miserable month. I remember it well. So we had a fireman, Mark Grunauer. He was another guy assigned to 77 who I had worked with. He was working this day. And this knucklehead is in the backyard blowing M80s off. All right. And, just boom, 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 boom. And then it ceased for a while. And then there was another big explosion. And Mark comes walking in the firehouse. They go, "Is that your last one?" He goes, "That wasn't me." I go, "Didn't you just get through blowing another M80 up?" He goes, "No, it wasn't me." Well, about 30 seconds later, we got the still. And this is about less than a block away from the firehouse. We turned the corner off Kamensky and the Roosevelt. And man, I'm telling you what, there are shopping carts, food, shit, all over the street. There was a header in the sky a mile high. And there was a gas explosion in there. And it blew the roof right off of this place. So we were there like 15 hours. And we're front engine, we're pumping all day on this thing. We had picked up from that, went to another fire or two, come back and got rekindles on this thing all night. Yeah, it was. And so we sent the cook down to the firehouse, and he cooked lunch and dinner for us and brought it back to us amongst some other refreshments that I won't talk about. But Yeah.
Cool. Look at that. There's 2 lines going in the front there.
There's actually 3. We were on the hydrant and we were being fed in the front and the back by 2 different engine companies. We had the deck gun going. We had 2.5s into every port. We had the doghouse open on the engine because it was so hot, and we had 1 3/4 the fog stream on it, trying to bring the temperature
down. Oh
of
my
the diesel
God.
engine down.
Wow.
And I think we put about 125 gallons of diesel fuel in this thing at that fire alone. So it was we got a lot of work that day.
And needless to say, it's one of those things that we say, right? As shitty as a day you thought that might be, you would go back to that day in a second, right? In a heartbeat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? That just give me another fire.
Yep.
God help me.
They're asking if you ever caught a run with Bull Stephen McCaffrey.
With who?
I'm doing it, Stephen. I was doing it.
I was up there doing it.
Doing it. Yeah.
Check that door for heat, Tim.
Nice, Petey.
I was up there
Doing it.
Nice.
Anyway,
So then you go and study and you get promoted. What made you want to be an officer? You go to fires, you live in the dream.
I'll tell you, no, you're right. It was a very hard place to leave, but I said you do it for only 2 reasons: retire or get promoted. So getting promoted was the reason. I'll tell you. So when I first got on, I'll never forget the quote. We're in the locker room discussing the menu of the day. And one of the old timers goes, "Hey, kid, we all spend 24 hours a day in the firehouse, except some make more money than others." And I go, that's interesting. That's a pretty good quote. I think I'll take you up on that. So that's what we did. Got promoted and got a bigger paycheck.
You were studying with guys in that firehouse?
Yeah. You know what? We had 6 guys in my study group. And I think 5 of them were out of my firehouse. All 6 of us ended up being chiefs.
Wow.
wow.
Yeah. So,
And you kept studying with each other, or for the most part, or no?
well, for the lieutenant's exam, it was lock, stock, and barrel,
Right.
all of us. And it was a very, very productive group. There was no slacking. There was no bullshitting. Everybody towed the line on what they were supposed to do. There was no withholding information. It was 6 guys, and we were all one.
Yeah, that's good.
And we just, we put the effort in as if our lives depended upon it. And we weren't leaving any stones unturned. And we all got promoted very quick. I mean, a matter of fact, I think 3 of us were in the first call.
Wow.
So, but every one of them was a phenomenal fireman, a great leader. And they had their head in the right place throughout their career.
Chief,
You didn't last on 77.
Dude, who is Mike Nacho? He is taking pot shots like a madman.
Mike Nacho, he's saying he has your little fire boots hanging from his rear view mirror.
Well, I tell you, you want to put him in line? Call him Michael.
Michael Nacho.
Michael.
You know what the nacho is, right?
So that's Mike Winograd, and better known as Wino, and that he can hold that title pretty well.
Upset.
What about Brian R., who says that Mitch turned into Maury from Goodfellas? What does that mean?
Oh.
Maury's wigs don't come off.
Come off.
So I think that is I think what they're getting at is the overtime that we worked as battalion chiefs and paying the piper. I don't know. I
thought maybe you went to
Go and get your fucking shine box.
Billy Bats.
Chief, I got to ask you a question. So you go from firefighter to lieutenant, and I guess at first you're thinking, all right, this will be a step up for me. I'll get the paycheck, right? But did you ever, like when you look back on it now, did you have any idea how you could really impact the lives of the men in that position? And like, did you really feel like the further you went up the ladder, did you feel like you had more of an impact?
Well, I'll tell you what, and that's interesting. And, you know, going off the top of my head, I was young, and, you know, I was a young lieutenant, and the average age of the job back then was a lot older than it is now. I mean, my first day on the job, I went to a very slow company, but I mean, I'm like 30 years old or something, and the average age of that truck was like 61, you know. And it was, you know, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to come in here and tell these guys what to do. Are you kidding me? Well, the bottom line is I just wanted to be an officer. I wanted to lead. I wanted to be the best I could absolutely be. I seen so many good men over my career that I wanted to be like them. Okay. And so what I did was I took a little bit of each of every one of these guys that I admire and respected, and kind of just combined it all into one and became me. You have to have a love for the job. And, you know,
it definitely comes true, Chief, that you do.
It
really does.
You just absolutely have to love this job and love the nobleness of it and live up to the expectations of the mission of the fire service and the phenomenal people that have come before you, and those that have given the ultimate sacrifice on this job, and also the other ones who have paid an occupational price in the atmospheres and the things that they've been exposed to over all the years in the fire service, who really passed away of some horrible deaths due to their careers.
Yep.
So you know, it's not a job for kids. You know, it's really not, and it's a gift. It's a gift like no other. But you know, I became a lieutenant, and I wanted to be the absolute best I could be. I wanted to emulate, you know, a lot of guys that I had been exposed to, and who taught me, and who I looked up to throughout the years. Well, I look up to everybody, but in a different way. You know what I mean? So that's that. I wanted to live by the creed, and you know, the you know, on another note is up until the day I retired, you know, I never evaluated myself. I never evaluated who I was or how I thought I did. That's entirely up to your peers to evaluate. If you want to know how you did in your career, you ask them. They're the ones that you have to answer to, and they're the ones who know best. So
I agree.
Well, judging by the amount of guys that are in the chat, I think you did all right. I've never seen so much chatter going on in the chat with any guests that we've ever had on.
I paid them all.
Yeah.
So 2 questions. There's 2 questions in here that
coming in hot,
guys,
Chief. They're coming in hot.
Yeah. There's a couple. So let's see if I start with this one here. Just a quick one here. Have you ever worked with Double E?
Double E, Ed Enright. Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, funny you say you can't see this, but I got a little cheat sheet here of some names, and somewhere in there you could see the Double E, Ed Enright. Ed Enright went off the job as a deputy district chief, and he was an extremely well-respected individual, a knowledgeable guy. He knew his job. He was a true motivator. He had the pride, the integrity, and the enthusiasm of dedication as any 10 men put together that you know. And he also served his country. He was a proud veteran. And I always looked up to Ed Enright. Anybody in their right mind would do the same. So Ed Enright, he's a guy. Yeah. Well, he's long retired, and he's out there, and
Next guy.
Good man. He's
maybe send us his number. We'll get him on the show.
We'll get him on.
Well, that's what they were also asking if we could get him on the show.
That's an extremely good idea.
All right.
A wealth of knowledge.
So then
we should also put together a Jagoff show. Get all the Chicago guys. Right?
Wow. Did you use that word a lot, Chief? You Jagoff? Did you say that a lot?
Yeah, I did. I used it a lot. We had a plethora of them, but it kind of like in the fire service, it's kind of a term of endearment.
Of course.
So
Jagoff every day.
Oh my God!
Every day
that I had were. I'm telling you, they were as vile as they come. Non-person, afterbirth, you name it. I was called everything.
Oh my God! Well, so then there's one more question that's a decent question, not like the other ones here.
Not the other ones. Somebody say, Mitch, answer your FaceTime. Teddy is naked. I mean,
I'll tell you what. Teddy, let me tell you something. Teddy can't be on the show Chicago Fire because they would kick all the stars off and keep him. And
no shit. Nice. Well, the other question was from Renegade Chauffeur, and he's ask Mitch about the insane people from Engine 38, namely Phil Romanowski, Joe Tito, and Tom Doyle.
Well, I'll tell you what. Joe Tito. And I don't know, Joe Tito. I'll tell you off base he could watch MTV for 24 straight hours.
Oh God.
Okay, so that just shows you how soft he was. These guys, Engine 38, it was absolutely the house of misfits. Okay, I mean,
love it.
The absolute house of misfits.
Craziness.
There wasn't 10 brain cells amongst the entire engine and truck.
Sounds like our show.
They were phenomenal firemen. Every day being detailed there was a phenomenal day. It's like, where's the detail next day? 38's house. I got it. You ain't up. Sit down. So 38 and truck 48 were a lot of fun. And it really was. It was the house of misfits.
We got a couple of those in the FDNY too.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
It's like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? Land of misfit toys.
Exactly.
Nobody wants a gun that shoots jelly.
They're saying that our Chicago show should be titled Cocklofts and Jagoffs.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, who said that?
One of our guys.
We're gonna have a Chicago show, bro. We're gonna get them all at one table.
My face hurts, man.
Yeah, already. Where are we, Ken?
Let's get the fire stories or something.
He gets promoted. Now he's bouncing around. The fire stories come as chief.
All right.
He's bouncing around relief. He doesn't find a home, right?
No, I floated as a lieutenant for like 6 years.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then you instructed at the academy, correct? How many classes did you do?
I only did one. One was enough. No, but listen, boy. I did one class there. It was a phenomenal experience. It helped me to do what I do better. And I had the absolute pleasure of running into and instructing that class with a guy who is now one of my absolute best friends, and that's retired Battalion Chief Frank Rosello. And I met Frank at the airport like 2 years earlier. It was actually our last day as firemen. He was detailed in. I was detailed in. We were sizing each other up the whole morning. Who the fuck is this guy? And we start talking about the lieutenant's exam and how we did. And that was actually our last day as firemen. And we were both promoted. We were pulled out of the field and sent to lieutenant school.
Wow.
And Frank in that class became a friend to me like no other. I mean, this guy is balls to the walls. That's all I can tell you.
Nice.
I mean, it's got to be kind of inspiring to teach the next generation of firefighters a little bit, right? I mean, it's not all that bad.
No, what it was this class was at the absolute tail end of that particular entrance exam list. That list had been up 10 years. Okay. So with that being said, we got a lot of good guys out of that class. But we had some people that didn't belong there. And, so it was tough working around them. It was tough trying to make them be somebody. You do the best you can do because that's what leadership is about. But that's what made it tough. They were more interested in getting these guys to pass all the exams and all the other things that the state fire marshal required than teaching them how to be firemen. So it was a little bit of a difficult experience, but I picked things up out of it that made me better at what I do. And again, I met my good friend Frank. So
we've had a few, Chief. We've had a few guys on the show who have, at some point in their career, just as it worked out, they went to the academy to teach, and they were kind of like pissed off because they were going to be offline. And like you're saying, like it just was a spot in their career where it ended up working out. And like you say, sometimes you never know how these things are going to work out.
Timmy Higgins, I think Timmy Higgins, right?
No, Joe Higgins.
I mean, Joe Higgins, right?
I don't know how it's working out in other municipalities, but I know in the city of Chicago, we got some. It's harder and harder to find guys to go down there and to instruct.
Right, no doubt.
We're living in a world today where everybody gets the trophy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's harder and harder to put up with the bullshit and some of the people that get pushed through. So
yeah, I got you.
A wise man once said, right, Pete? If you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby. You know what I'm saying? No second place trophies, baby. I'm on. Everybody gets a trophy.
And second place is first losers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, so now you go and you get promoted to captain in July of '99, and you go back.
Yeah.
Back to 81.
Yeah. It's like I got an affinity. Look at that. It's like putting
look at that.
That's not a pig. I clean up, don't I?
You do.
Yeah. Not too shabby.
I thought this was an episode of Love Boat, and that was Captain Stupid.
The Love Boat.
Wow, it looks good.
Yeah. So what happened here is typically when you get promoted to captain, you go to a relief position. Okay. And captains don't really float. They end up sticking you to sit on a spot that has no captain. Okay. There's a vacancy there for whatever reason. In this particular case, the city took their infinite wisdom to violate the union contract and assign all of us. So I got really fortunate on this exam. I was number two on this list, and 2 or 3, I don't remember. But so I got promoted right away off of it, and they slammed us into these spots, and I ended up going right back to the same place that I was a candidate at. But I will tell you this much. Again, didn't do a lot, but it was the best it could possibly be at the time. And the reason being is because of the company that I was surrounded by. It was district headquarters. It was the 6th district. Ray Orozco, who went on to be fire commissioner, was the deputy. They don't get any better than that. Pat Malone was the chief in the 21st Battalion. A guy named Sobchak in the 22nd. John McNamara, an absolute legend in the 23rd. And one of my absolute main mentors on this job, who has unequivocally played a big role in making me who I am, Rich Edgeworth, was the chief in the 24th Battalion, who's actually my battalion chief. I had some young guys. They sent me some young candidates at that time, and it was as good as it can get for a company that didn't do much. We had fun. We laughed, we joked, we had practical jokes. We had phenomenal leaders. It was good seeing the bosses come in every day. I drilled the living shit out of the candidates, tried to make them be somebody, and
hell yeah,
best as I could. And man, I tell you what, did I work the circuit in that fire alarm office trying to steal fires?
Yeah.
So
and that's why the guys would follow you. That's why they follow you, Chief.
You know, I mean, it was as good as it can get at that time. And you know, I stayed there until we won the union grievance, which was like 15 months later, and they put us all relief. And I bid on that next position coming up. That was just vacated. So
was that engine 113?
113. Yep. And others. I've got like this affinity for single engine companies.
Yeah.
And my dad did too. He was assigned with single.
Did you work it? Did you do any truck work at all? Or mostly in the
you know what? Only on details.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, only on details. You know, when I was assigned to an engine as a candidate, I went to an engine as a fireman, like 77. They don't get any better than that. You know, I just kind of, my genes just started gravitating towards engines, you know, and so, but the 113, I needed to go. Okay. And there's kind of a funny story about that. I needed to go. I needed to go to a company where I was going to do some work. And at the particular time, the district chief was going to keep me permanently assigned at Engine 81. And they could do that at the particular time. The city's got a little bit of leeway of altering the seniority system and putting people in specific spots. Well, that Ray Orozco Jr., he came through. He went up to that office. He locked the door at the district chief and said, "We got to talk about this. You can't keep him here. He's a thoroughbred. You got to release him to run the big race. You can't keep him here." And that's exactly what he did. I went relief. 113 opened up, and I went there, and I stayed there the rest of my time as a captain.
That's not bad.
So that was on the west side. Another single engine.
These guys were all stealing my jokes. I was going to say, when he walked in, they had to change out the 6-foot hook to a 10-foot hook. Now they're all stealing. Terry Riley stealing my shit.
Listen, there's something wrong with Terry Riley. There's truly something wrong with him.
Something wrong with all of us.
I tell you what, there's hope for everybody.
Except for Terry Riley.
I think Terry Riley is on the absolute tip top of the new lieutenants list. He will be promoted on that first call, most likely on the when this list first starts getting used, and Terry's going to do a fine job.
Just keep away from your daughter. That's all.
Oh my God.
I tell you what, you know what's going to happen? The first day that Terry is promoted as an officer, and mark my word, Terry, it's coming. I'm going to wait till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I'm going right to his room. Right to it. And I'm going to open the door, and I most likely won't have any clothes. Payback is a bitch.
I do want to say that Terry and Paul Vallis sent us some pictures that I cannot air. I actually cannot air these photos.
Can you pixelate them?
I can't do that right now.
The interesting part about my career is 95% of it I can't discuss. Okay,
we're only getting 5%, Coobs.
He did tell me that the first time I talked to him. That's what he said. There's about 95% I can't discuss.
Statute of limitations.
Let's talk about the 5%.
My career is more sacred than the Warren Commission.
Oh my God!
The statute of limitations continues.
It'll never end with this one. They'll dig our graves up and do business with us.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, so there's a couple of things coming in from John Plug. One of them,
oh boy,
one of them being, you got to have him tell you about Doyle and 330, and ask him who the most dangerous man on the department is.
the most dangerous man on the Chicago Fire Department, he's now retired, but was, and he'll live in infamy, is one of the most dangerous men on the fire department, is John Scheinflug with a buggy and a radio. Okay, so the buggy is the chief's vehicle, or a sedan. That's what we call. Chiefs went in buggies back in the day, so we call the chief's vehicle a buggy.
I didn't know that. Look at that.
Yes. So John Scheinflug with a buggy and a radio is the most dangerous man on earth. So and
he's definitely in the 95 percentile, I would imagine.
There's you know what? But he's got a heart of gold. John is out in Arizona now. He takes care of my house out there and oversees things for me when I'm not there. And he's got a heart of gold. He's a good friend. But don't give him a buggy, and don't give him a radio.
No radio, no buggy for that man.
No.
Oh man.
Good God.
My face hurts. It does.
We're cruising.
My face does hurt.
What was the other question that John Plug had? He had something else.
What was it? Oh, something.
No, it was the most dangerous man, and Doyle. He has said,
"Oh boy, so
Doyle and 330."
This day, okay. So this 330. This guy named Doyle. He was a lieutenant. He was an instructor down there, and I'm not really sure what he did except eat and keep his eye on all the department vehicles assigned to the academy. And so we had a lot of hand-down vehicles there, a lot of hand-down buggies and apparatus that weren't street worthy and what have you not. Or there was this one buggy, and they had a shop number of A330. And I'll tell you what, this Doyle, he was in love with this buggy. This was his baby. He watched over it like a hawk. Well, Scheinflug used to steal the keys and steal that buggy all the time on him and hide it on him. And this guy would have a panic attack each and every single time.
Oh my God!
So that's the story behind him. And the A330, it was a shop vehicle.
All right, so now I'm going to get into battalion chief, because this is where we got all the pictures, right, Pete? Is that where we got all the pictures?
Chief, battalion chief. We got some flyers, but here he is as bat chief.
Look at that guy. Look at that.
I like those little lightning bolts you got over there.
Yeah, what is that? Little lightning bolt you got there?
Yeah. Got struck by lightning a time or two, but that's me. It proves anybody can get promoted.
Every chief has said that on the show.
What else you got, Pete? Go through a couple more. Let's get to some fire photos.
And this is where you're into your DC.
Yeah, I was actually a deputy district chief at one time. That's an appointed position past battalion chief. I gave that one back. I would just say that I served the citizens of Chicago and the members of the Chicago Fire Department far greater in the position as a battalion chief. And the battalion chief is unequivocally the fulcrum and the pinnacle point of the incident command system. And that's where fires are made or broken. And that's what I went back to, and never looked back after that. I was offered numerous positions on this job, and I didn't want them. I was very happy being with the guys I was at Engine 54, Truck 20, and the old 18th Battalion, which became the 19th Battalion. And I was graced by God to have some of the finest people known to this department under my command. And I worked with some phenomenal people. They did everything and anything I asked of them. They never questioned anything. And they were balls to the walls. They were hardcore. They were everything that the fire service is supposed to be. They exemplified everything that the fire service is supposed to be. But I'll tell you what, you couldn't dress them up and take them out. And you couldn't have an official Chicago Fire Department group photo of them. The best way I can explain them was when you seen the Dirty Dozen.
I was going to say Animal House or something like that. Yeah.
That was them.
Good. Those are the best kind of guys, aren't they?
Absolutely. I would take 10 more of each of them.
Chief, this is what we're going to do. I got all those fire photos that you have stories behind. So I'll just go through them from top to bottom.
Okay.
And you'll just give us a little background on each of them. All right.
Okay.
So here's the first one at 48 Ashland.
Oh,
look at
What
that.
happened here? Look at this thing.
okay.
Marvel.
I don't know if you could see it or not, but in the front window, I believe it's on the second floor of that structure. It's the big tall store up. That's
Sorry.
It's
Big tall.
There you go. Big tall.
Big sizes.
Big sizes. Yeah. Go figure. I was underneath that wall of bricks. Okay. So that fired air, it had been in for a while, and I had been listening to it, and I thought they had it. But then I was in the 17th Battalion over in the Hyde Park area of Chicago. That's now been renumbered, the 5th Battalion, but it ended up going to a 211. So I was a 211 chief. And so I reported to command post. They made me a sector chief. So I was in sector B, which is where the wall has come out there. And, I kind of studied my job and all the facts and the figures. And this was a defensive operation at the time. And that tower ladder you see had been beaten up on that wall, trying to get through some of the brickworks and into the cock loft of that structure. And apparently it did a lot of loosening up of the mortar, those bricks and what have you not.
Apparently.
So technically, I was numerically out of that collapse zone. I was at least double the height of the building, standing there protecting everybody from walking into it. But I failed to realize that ended up being a 90-degree collapse. Okay, so it didn't pancake in, it didn't fall in on itself. Fell right over 90 degrees. And that building is about 40 feet high, even though it's 3 stories. When that stuff came down from the top on down and ended up into that vacant lot, when it crashed into that vacant lot, it sent a shower of bricks plummeting with significant velocity in the opposite direction in that building. And I got absolutely fucking plummeted.
No shit, really?
Bricks. I was black and blue from my neck all the way down to my ankles.
Oh, geez.
And I was in agony for a good 6 months after that.
But you didn't go sick.
No, I did go.
Holy shit! You were in a collapse.
I did go to the hospital to get checked out. I really had no choice. I mean, due to the fact I could hardly breathe. But
were you totally under? You were laying on.
No. I wasn't under it. I got hit with probably 25 or 30 of those bricks. As they showered down on a 90-degree angle,
they're getting pushed out at you.
Velocity of it coming down in that direction. It was just like literally everybody picking up and throwing bricks at me and hitting you with no misses. I did go to Northwestern Hospital on ambulance 49. I was in there the rest of the night getting checked out and x-rays and blood work and all kinds of different things. And I ended up going home the next morning. I was picked up, but I was hurting. And so my wife works at Northwestern Hospital, and the attending ER physician says, who knows her, says, "We got to call your wife." I says, "Don't you dare call my wife." I says, "Nothing to talk about here." I says, "Let's not do that." And she says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I ended up not doing it. I paid a big price for it the next morning when I came home." But so I get picked up by, at that time, the captain of Truck 15, who they acted up in my place and put him in the buggy while I was at the hospital. He came and picked me up, and I returned us from Northwestern Hospital, and I called the fire alarm office, which was the Inglewood fire alarm office. And I said, in a very low monotone voice, I said, "Battalion 17 Inglewood, I'm leaving Northwestern Hospital in limited service. Very, very limited." and that's what I did. But I hurt for about 6 months after that.
No shit.
Wow. Yeah, I bet.
Something. The only thing that the learning experience out of this is a 90-degree collapse, you got to get away from it because you don't know where the force of that collapse is going to end.
God.
The numbers don't tell the story.
Yeah.
So,
Jeez.
No.
All right.
You slipped
Well-
through that one pretty good.
yeah, I did.
We do get lucky, huh, Chief? There's no doubt.
Yeah, we
about it.
do. I was lucky. Something. I did see my life pass before me there, and it did affect me for a good year or two with nightmares and other bizarre things. But you know what? You get back on the horse and ride it right away and
Hell yeah.
get going and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, we have another one here, another big fire. 68th and Perry. What's going on here?
A lot of ladders. Okay, so what this is a courtyard building. So in the city of Chicago, we've got a lot of these courtyard buildings. This one happened to be, they're U-shaped. This one happened to be 3 stories. They're heavily occupied structures. They've got common stairwells. And for some odd reason, a lot of fires that occur in these buildings are at night. And they're usually of incendiary nature. And they're usually the cause of someone having some type of vendetta against somebody and gassing the stairwells, and there's no way out. So I get this still, first response in the middle of the night. It's got to be 1, 2 in the morning. The office hits a box on it en route for people trapped. I pull up on the scene, and all I see is orange on the 3rd floor and the wing where you see the ladders are. I thought it was through the roof at the time, but it was venting out the back of an apartment on the 3rd floor, and it was burning through the scuttle hole in the back of the building. And the roof was starting to take off too. I believe it was a 1-ply, which they're flammable. A lot of fire, a lot of things going on here. At one time, I've got a people problem. I've got heavy fire in a heavily occupied building, and you can't see it in these pictures, but I had people on the windowsills and the ledges. So that's how these fires typically go. And the one thing that you have to do with these type of fires is expect the worst and hope for the best, and absolutely get out ahead of it. I boxed the fire. We have our rapid intervention truck, which is solely for rapid intervention. They're not to be used for anything except for imminent rescue, which in this particular case, we did. So I put them to work, ordered up another one, ordered up 2 extra truck companies on a box. I knew I was going to need ladders, got an extra alarm, asked for extra trucks on the extra alarm, and had all incoming trucks bring their 35s into the front of the building, and I would direct them from there. These guys did an absolutely phenomenal job. The first companies that arrived on the scene, Engine 54, Truck 20, Engine 47, Truck 30, Squad 5, they were all over it. I mean, they let out to the appropriate places. Truck 20 rescued people off of the window ledges. We had ladders raised everywhere. We had people threatening to jump. We got everybody out of there. We actually contained this fire after about a half hour, and there was only a few minor injuries out of it. So the big thing with those types of fires, and I'd use that picture in training sessions with people, is you got to get out ahead of them. Okay, because if you don't, you'll never be able to make up that lost track in time, and reflex companies for companies coming into the scene. But you know what? A lot of people said I did a phenomenal job running that fire, but let me tell you something. They could wipe all of us chiefs out. It's the firemen that do the work of the fire service. They are the ones that lead out the lines, do the rescues, do the ladder work, do the venting, do the entering, do the searching. They're the ones that should take credit for everything. All I am is an orchestrator. That's all a chief is. The firemen are the bread and butter, the bones, the backbone of the fire service. So
I agree and disagree, but you are correct that the guys all do the job, but you still need somebody with a cool head who's pulling the strings, so to speak, to put everybody in position and make sure guys are getting the job done. So it's a whole it's a team effort.
You can orchestrate it all you want, but if you don't have the person
All right, I got you
to
then.
get it done,
I got you.
It's like playing a musical instrument. Nothing comes
Nothing
out.
coming out of it.
Right. But also as the chief, firemen, they're just going to go. They're not going to come out of the building. It's what you see that you may say to them, all right, you got that. Enough's enough. Time to get out. Otherwise, they're going to keep going. They're not going to want to be pulled out.
You know something? That's a common problem on the fire ground. And I had the people in every aspect of my area and my battalion that it was most certainly the hardest thing to do was to tell them,
right,
it's time to go, or you ain't going in there, or we're going defense right away, or we're going to go defense first and follow it up with offense. You know what? They only point A to point B. B
that's
was
right.
the hose line.
Put the fire out. That's it. Whatever.
It's something. It's one of the hardest things to do is to get these guys to back off.
Right, and that's where the officers come in. That's where the chief, mostly the chief comes in. Right.
One day I was on that side of the fence and I was playing the same game, and the next day I find myself as a chief officer in side A, and I'm looking at the entire program differently. And you know what? Bottom line, you're a jag-off if you pull them out, and you were a jag-off
if you keep them
in and someone got hurt.
Yeah.
I would rather be the jag-off that yanked them out and they get to go home the next day and call me a jag-off.
Yep.
So,
amen.
Yeah.
Yep.
No doubt about that.
What do you got, Petey? Give me another one.
So, we got the 70th Street.
That looks like my kind of situation.
Yeah, that was the said to be alley garage. It was anything but an alley garage. So this fire came in the morning. Probably we were just changing shifts. I mean,
how many buildings is that going?
That had 3 of them.
Oh yeah.
It started obviously in the middle in a vacant 2-flat, and it went to frames on each side. But we were actually able to contain it before it went any further. But I got it as an alley garage in the morning, and they gave me this still in like the 7100 block of like May or something, Aberdeen or something like that, a block or 2 over. And so, I always pushed out of the firehouse first. I know they do things different municipalities other than that, but I always pushed out first and fast. I wanted to get to the scene to see what I had. I wanted to size it up. I wanted to get my tactics down before my first companies got there. And I wanted to clearly spell out what I wanted them to do when I arrived. So there was no question about it. So I fly out of the firehouse. I'm excited. I'm in the firehouse an hour. I'm going out to my first still. A garage, okay, all right, it's a garage, but it wasn't a garage. I turned the corner left. I head south on 71st Street to head to this address. The fire alarm office gets on the radio and corrects the address to the 7,000 block of May. I'm going the wrong way. So I got to turn around now. And I do that, and I see the entire back end of a vacant building going. I pull up onto May. I see what I got. I got exposures on the northern side of this building. And the second I pulled up, both floors completely lit up on the vacant 2-flat, and we're taking the frames along with it on each side of it. So I boxed the fire. I think this ended up going to a 211, but it was just a fast spreading fire. And, as a chief officer, I look at fires differently than I did as a company officer. Company officers tend to get zeroed in on what they got and not necessarily where this thing may be going. As a chief officer, you got to look what you got and where it may be going. And it just tactically set it up in that there was the two flat that we ended up burning the roof off of it.
Wow.
And stop it from going to the other two. But the fact of the matter is companies were set up in a defensive operation initially to knock this thing down, exposure lines. I pulled truck 20 out of the lineup right away and backed up squad 5 snorkel to the front end. I had a tower ladder come in the front end. I had companies leading out in every direction just to contain this. And that's a knack that a chief officer should have is you see what you got. You see the type of the construction of the building you got. How long do you have to commit personnel to it? Can you do it at all? When do you pull them? When do you send them back in? When do you not send them in at all? But looking at not only what you have, but where the alarm is going and set up accordingly so you're not reshuffling the deck 5 or 10 minutes down the line. And that's something that it's too late. And so this picture was actually shot by the engineer of 54 after he started sending water, Joe Vidnich, who's now a lieutenant on the job. But that's what it looked like down the street from his perspective. But
Nice.
Yeah, you know, the fast spreaders are they're fun. They're
Nice.
fun to deal with, and they test you and they test your tactical abilities, and they definitely test the fortitude of the guys and gals who are pulling the hose and raising the ladders.
Hey, Chief, did you say that you have a driver, or do you guys drive yourselves?
No, we drive ourselves. We had drivers up until about 1990, and the crafty little city people that there are managed to find a little bit of an opening in a loophole in the labor contract and found out that the buggy drivers were not contractually protected. And that went to arbitration, and we lost our drivers. Now, that being said, you know, I loved driving myself. I loved the absolute freedom of not having to tag anybody along with me and what have you not. But a driver is priceless when the chips are down and you need a scribe. You need people to check things for you. You know, you need to drive down an alley or somewhere and have them drop you off, you know, on your way and get the buggy out of the way to the in companies coming. Companies coming in, they could be absolutely priceless and worth their weight in gold to have them when you need them. But we lost them back in 1990.
It's another set of eyes and someone else to bounce something off. You know what I mean? Especially when I was assigned to the 1st Battalion downtown with all the high rises and just the extreme amount of logistical things that have to be done. And man, you're throwing everything at this incident, including the kitchen sink, and you got to keep track of everything. You got nobody to do it. Yeah. No chief aid. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Petey, what do you got?
He's a man's man. Next one up here is 78 Carpenter. Let's talk about this bad boy.
Carpenter. Okay, so we had this thing a couple of times. And it was a vacant building that they kept touching off. and I hit it once before myself. I had a pretty decent fire in it. So I was aware that, you know, it had a fire in it. There might be some structural continuity that has been disrupted and what have you not. But I let them go. I seen where the fire was at and what they had. And I let them go, and they did what they did best. And, you know, truck 20 put their main to the roof, 54, you know, let out to the seat of the fire, had multiple lines going to multiple floors, and what have you not. And this thing just took off. It just took off. You know, I called for an emergency alert. I sounded the air horns. I vacated the building as fast as I could. And there's a picture coming up, and you can see the end of the main ladder. That ended up being a 1-ply roof. That roof came in. The end of the tip of that main ladder got really worked over well. That truck was out of, that truck was out of service for 10 or 11 months. They had to replace a complete fly section on that ladder. Now, what happened to that was, as I was getting guys off of the roof, they were down far enough to where they were safe, but the ladder had to stay in place after the collapse in order to get them completely down. And we burned a living fucking tire on it. And I want to add a little bit of a tidbit to this thing is I believe that there was potentially some charges coming down the line on this about my command destruction of the aerial ladder of truck 20. And one of my good friends and mentors, Rich Edgeworth, who at that particular time was the director of safety in the Chicago Fire Department, put a stop to it. There was a chief in the logistics division who was very discipline happy, if you will. And he wanted to do business, but the Edge squashed it. Yeah, he did. And you know what? If I had to do it 10 times again the next day,
the same shit. Same thing. I agree.
Burn every main ladder up of every truck company on the Chicago Fire Department, as long as I get my personnel off of that roof in a position of safety, is all that matters.
I mean, it's easy for me, especially, to pick that apart. But like, fuck the gear, man. It's about human beings, and you guys don't deserve to die over a piece of fucking equipment.
No
doubt about that.
And, I mean, it wasn't going to happen there either.
Like you said, that's the best way to explain that. If it happens 5 minutes from now, if it happened tomorrow, if it happens next year, I'm going to do the same thing. No matter what you do to me, you can give me charges. It doesn't matter. We're going to do the same shit again. So it doesn't matter.
Good. I like the attitude, Chief. Very nice. We got one more to talk about here before we get into old school tips and whatnot. And this is the 500 North Michigan, and this was not a fire.
No. This was a dandy. So I was assigned to the 1st Battalion. I spent like 3 years down there, 2 years on a kind of a detail. A guy named John Collins was assigned there. He took a long detail to a newly formed special operations battalion. And I sat in his place. He ended up getting that spot when it came permanent. I put in for the 1st Battalion and I got it. A lot of people don't want to go there, but that 1st Battalion made me much better at what I do. So this was about 500 North Michigan, and this was the Intercontinental Hotel. And, downtown, I used to get a jumper, every couple of work days, or somebody threatening to jump, whatever the case may be, you'd get them. This one, I pulled up on it, and, you get smart at these things. First of all, you park the buggy about a third of a block away. So if the knucklehead does jump, they don't land and destroy your buggy. That's the first thing you got to, they say scene safety, protect.
It's like the Untouchables.
So, so I get that thing out of the way. And I used to keep the binoculars in the front seat of the buggy because I get all kinds of water incidents and other incidents down there. And with this, I look up on the top of the roof of this building. It was 43 stories, so 430 feet off of the ground. I looked up. I didn't see anything. I entered the structure. There's some security in there, and there is a female sitting on the couch talking to a police officer. I walked in. I said, "What's up? What's going on? What does you guys got a jumper?" Talk to the girl. So I go, "Ma'am, what's going on? Did you call us?" She says, "Yeah." She goes, "I was up. We just got through eating dinner in this Michael Jordan's restaurant, and my boyfriend and I, we got access to the roof area to take pictures." I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Well, he climbed up the ladder on the side of the chimney that extends above the building, and he fell in." I go, you telling me that this guy you're with fell in? And she says, yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. So I get a couple of guys from Squad 1 and a guy named Kelly Burns and Justin Reynolds was there. That's Kevin Krasnick. Kevin was at the time the director of safety. He ended up coming in on this response, but and I think that's Kenny Witecki in the background there. He was the deputy district chief at the time, and he responded at incident by says, "Get some Juno lines. We got to check that chimney." So then I tell the security guard, I go, look, cut the heating plan off to this building right now. There's somebody in there somewhere lodged, you know. I don't want to carbon monoxide them to death or what have you not. So they did that. Kelly Burns went up on the ladder with the Juno line. He looked down and he's pointing. I go, are you telling me that you see somebody? And Kelly goes, uh-huh. He's like Flipper. Yeah. I go, holy fuck. I says, there's somebody in there. And the way it was, the thing dropped 28 feet. It went off on an angle and then straight down to the basement. Another
Holy
400
shit.
feet. This guy got caught up on the angle. There's no good way to get to him at all. Mm-hmm. So I said, what do we got here? I go, I just got through with a confined space class, not made for human occupancy, unusual turns and configurations.
Perfect.
No easy way in and no easy way out. I go, this is a confined space.
Yeah.
So I got on the radio. I says, they're going to love this. I says, give me a confined space response. I got a guy down a chimney in the Intercontinental Hotel. Well, that brought out a whole lot of people and a whole lot of special operations unit to do this. But, you know, we ran it like a textbook final exam for a confined space response. And, you know, this wasn't my specialty, but I was privy enough and educated enough through the system to be able to recognize exactly what I had and the level of response that I needed. And what can we do now, and what shouldn't we do until we get the appropriate response? And you know, in came the cavalry.
Did they end up sending a guy down, or did you breach it? We
ended up breaching it. We would never have gotten this guy out the top. So what had happened was Squad 1 was working on the rooftop with the rigging systems, and Squad 2 had worked 2 floors below, breaching the chimney through the wall. And it took quite some time to get to this guy. But we did. And the interesting one point of interest, and I don't have a picture of it, but this chimney was 6 feet around. And we had pushed, and as it went through the building, we had burrowed holes in this chimney and stuck 2x4s through it. And it looked like, if you remember that game, I don't know if you played it when you were younger, Kerplunk, where you stuck the little needle pointy things in there. And that was to block the chimney up in case this guy went sailing. We didn't want to lose him.
Yeah,
you know,
I like that move.
You know, and you know, that took some time. By the time we got to this guy, he was deceased. But it was a good operation, and it you know, I think the guy traumatically died. It was 30 feet that he went down from the top. And you know what? I don't know if the story that she told me was true or not as to how it happened, but he ended up in that chimney. And to make a confined space response out of that, I never dreamed that I'd be dealing with something like that. Yeah. So,
Pete, there was a that somebody did a super chat before, Chris something or other.
I got you. Stand by. There was a couple. Here's one. Christopher Visvardis asked, "Did Chief CROOKER ever work with Special Operations Chief Mike Marks?"
Mike, I worked with him. Yeah, he was a captain for a while. But well, let's see, he was a lieutenant on 122. I think he was the the captain of Truck 42 or Engine 82, and I had worked with him, yes, at times.
Right.
So I do know him, yes.
They just sometimes they like to know if you work with someone. One more quick one here. Actually, sorry guys, I forgot about this one. It was in a weird spot in the pictures. This is a really good one too. The church fire.
The church fire.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so I'll go over this church fire. And the reason why I brought this up, because I wanted to end up talking about somebody specifically in one of these photos, in which I will get to. So this was another early morning fire.
It's a big church.
It happened when it was a Catholic church. It was south of the Hyde Park area in the city. This fire came in about 6:30 in the morning, changing shifts. They ended up getting a working fire out of it, which escalated it to a rapid intervention response, which is we end up, obviously, you get a BC on that, which was me. I was a rapid intervention chief, a truck company, EMS field chief, as well as an ambulance. So that's part of our RIT response, our rapid intervention response. And that was my assignment at this particular fire. It was a defensive operation the whole time. I was on the B side of the structure watching for collapse, and was given a task of help set up some of the master stream devices, tower ladders and snorkels on that side of the building by the deputy fire commissioner of operations. And that's what I did pretty much the whole fire. But it was pretty much an all-day affair. But as you go through these pictures, you can see, okay, that's just a couple of us standing there. That's John Collins on the left. John Collins, I took his spot in the 1st Battalion. He ended up being the Special Operations Chief of 515, now retired. This guy's got the coolest name on the Chicago Fire Department. Matter of fact, it barely fits on his back. Sel Mastro Domenico. Okay. Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah. So he is now a battalion chief. I think he was a lieutenant at that particular time. The guy to the right of him is Tom Carbonell. He just retired last week as a district chief, thrown off for age. So he is now retired, and that's me standing there looking at this thing.
Looking fabulous. Who's the guy with the nozzle?
Tell us this guy. Who is this guy right
I'll
here?
tell you exactly who that is with that 2.5-inch hose line from a point of vantage. Not only did we burn the roof off of the Catholic church, but we also put the Catholic chaplain of that church on the exposure line. So
Put him to work at least.
Put him to work
as well. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Catholic, yeah. So
we got
holy smoke.
Yeah.
Holy smoke.
Holy smoke.
That must have been an exciting moment for the priest. Now, what's going on here?
I'll tell you exactly what's going on there. This picture is kind of special in a number of ways. That gentleman standing there in the middle is none other than one of the most revered men who's ever been attached to the Chicago Fire Department. That is the now retired Catholic chaplain, Reverend Thomas Mulcrone. You talk about a gift in the fire service, he's the guy. Right there, I don't know if it's a photo op. I don't know if it just happened to be, but he's giving me a kiss on the top of my head.
Big dude.
He's a big dude, too, man.
This good man tells me that it is one of his favorite pictures in the history of him being the Catholic chaplain. And that is one of the few pictures that sits on his mantle now.
That's cool.
Now, you talk about a guy who was there for us. This is a man who overseen an entire Catholic parish and his secondary parish, the Chicago Fire Department, and all their families and everything that goes along with it. A 24-hour 7-day a week, 365-day a year operation. And this guy was always there for us, always there for us, always there to say the right words, to do the right thing, to give the right sermon. This guy is a class act, and he was sent to us by God. No, it's the only absolute thing I could possibly think of. There's not a finer man.
Awesome.
Great job.
Awesome.
That's
All
awesome,
right.
man.
So that's why I wanted to include that montage
I like it.
of pictures.
That's a
with
great
him.
picture.
Yeah.
All right, Pete, let's get into the retirement phase here. Let's move. What do we got?
I want to see that thing that he did on his last. He wrote something.
There's a locker note. I think this would be a good way to end it. Let's talk about this locker note, Chief. Maybe you could read it to us.
Okay, so yeah, you know what? Okay, so
Would you like me to read it to everybody?
Yeah, you go ahead, and then I'll just give you my thoughts on it and how I came about it. Go ahead.
Because this is pretty unbelievable. So he wrote, "To whom it may concern, this was my locker, rather. It has now been vacated for you. Whomever you are, I want to make it perfectly clear that you have only two responsibilities. Understand that you, like me, do not count for SNIT in the 19th Battalion.
Shit. I think it's shit.
It looks like SNIT. It looks like SNI, but it's shit in the 19th Battalion. The firefighters and the paramedics are the only things that matter or counts. Everything here comes before you as it did me. They are to be protected from two elements. Element number one is the harm's way they will be put in. Element number two is protecting them from 35th Street, both at all costs. The personnel in this battalion will, underline, will walk through a wall for you. And if you do not understand my concept, you do not belong here. I do not want to sound mean-spirited, but I do not have the words to express how much I love my guys and gals. Mitchell CROOKER, Battalion Chief, retired. Wow.
Nice. Holy snit. That's awesome.
Holy
snit. It said snit.
Dude, that's never going to go away.
You're never losing that now, Pete. Holy
Look at it. Does this look like an H? Hold on.
Yes.
No, it does not, you fucking prick.
I've heard people say holy snit many times in my life.
It didn't say
you got to excuse the chicken scratch, because I sat down and I just abruptly wrote that off the top of my head in a couple of minutes when I went into the Firehouse in like the middle of January to clear my locker out. And I
Chief,
go,
that snit is crazy, man.
Yeah, that snit is crazy.
You should have been a poet. Well said, Chief. Well said.
No, Chief, that was
that note shows how much you cared about your men right there.
Well, they were everything, and they are truly the lifeblood of the fire service. And any officer, especially chief officer, who is not willing to put the backbone of the fire service, which is the firefighter, in front and ahead of their career, shouldn't be in the position they're in.
Wow. Good stuff. But before we get to the old school tip of the day, Pete, I want to play the Chiefs' last radio sign off.
Oh, who did this? Your son did this, Chief?
Yeah, my son put this little montage together. I sent him some pictures where he had some, and this is a voice broadcast of my last radio message as I was relieved for duty on my last shift and being done.
Here we go.
Awesome.
Battalion 19, Englewood. Battalion 19. Battalion 19, Englewood. This is Chief CROOKER, the 19th Battalion. I am the poster child of a boyhood dream come true. Shed no tear for me, for today. I really do consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I've served almost 4 decades on the greatest job in the world. I have been graced by God to work with some of the finest men and women this job has had to offer. It is true that if you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. To the men and women of the Englewood and Maine Fire Alarm Office, thanks for always having my back. And I want to thank God Chicago Fire Department home safely to their families. And most importantly, to the firemen and paramedic, understand, and I thank everybody for everything that they have done for me. All that being said, this is Chief Crooker of the 19th Battalion signing off for the last time.
Message received, Chief Crooker. Chief from the fire alarm office, you have been well known and respected at the office. Good luck and God bless you. You retire as a legend. Hold the line, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Good luck. Congratulations and good luck, Mitch. Thanks for everything. Thanks, Mitchie.
Good luck, little buddy.
Oh,
Thank you, Chief Crooker, for all of your experience and protecting us while we're out there. This is Lieutenant Dorsey from Engine 121. You have a great retirement.
For the man at 126, Mitch, congratulations. Have a happy retirement.
From Engine 73, happy retirement, Chief. Good luck to you.
Tell you, dude, you're going to have an awesome, outstanding, wonderful retirement. Boom. Residential high-rise, nothing showing on the automatic alarm.
Congratulations, Battalion 9 team. Good luck with your retirement.
Are you having all happy?
Battalion 23's on the scene.
We'll meet you, man.
23 on the scene.
Good luck and Godspeed, Mitch Crooker. On behalf of 5th District and all members of the Chicago Fire Department, we will follow your lead, brother. God bless.
nice.
That's the best line, the last one.
Chief, that was amazing. Chief.
I told you it was a tearjerker.
I'm welling up over here.
What was amazing was the opportunity that I was given, and that was to be who I am. And, I'm fortunate.
Chief,
we
are blessed to have you on the show to share you with everybody across this country, everybody around the world. There was a guy where was that guy from, Pete? New Zealand, who was watching before?
Yeah, yeah.
To share you with everybody out there, just you are the epitome of a firefighter through and through. And
I appreciate the kind words.
I do. I appreciate you coming on. You're a great man, a great firefighter, a great leader, a great officer.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes. And also, we didn't get to touch on your son, but your son was joined the Marines, correct? Right after 9/11.
Yes, he did.
Served his country bravely.
My son joined the Marine Corps. Said he was going to join the Marine Corps as a sophomore in high school on the day of 9/11. He served very honorably 2 tours of duty in Iraq as a radio operator assigned to an infantry unit, and I couldn't be prouder. And you know what? I couldn't carry his dirty underwear.
Wow.
You know what, Chief? We couldn't be prouder of you. I mean, not only are you making Chicago proud, you're making all the fire service proud, really. Unbelievable job. Thank you for coming on. And
100%.
Amazing.
Thank you.
That's
right,
not
it's-
often.
it's
It's not
that
often
time.
that this guy is speechless, but I'm speechless.
I know.
Freddie.
I'm
Got nothing.
I love that girl.
Yeah.
She said, "You've paved the way. We'll keep it going." Whatever she said. That's a great line.
All right, let's give the man his time right here.
Limelight.
Give him the
Well, let me
limelight,
tell you
baby.
guys first, before we get into the old school tip of the day, guys, we have a new sponsor on the show who's
We
sponsoring
do.
the old school tip of the day. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Who might that
And
be,
that's-
Pete?
that sponsor is Firehouse 247.com. Here, I'm just going to share. I'm going to go ahead and share their screen here before we get rolling here. Stand by. And yes, Firehouse247.com. Built by firefighters. Firehouse 24/7 solves shift scheduling problems with the first-hand knowledge of the biggest administration issues faced by fire departments today. Get your overtime shifts, details, and callbacks filled automatically according to your unique department policies and union rules. Expect easy integration with the systems you already use and a first-class customer service experience from the Firehouse 24/7 team. So, schedule a call with the team at firehouse247.com and get started with your free trial today email them at firehouse247.com. Departments that mention they heard about us on the Getting Salty Experience podcast will receive a free 2-month trial of the software. It doesn't get better than that, guys. You guys all know the deal. Administrative stuff sucks, but this might make it just a little bit easier for
Ask
you.
Ruffy about that. Ask Ruffy about the administrative stuff. He loved it.
That's right. Another quality sponsor here. Firehouse 24/7.
I met those guys at a couple of shows. They're really cool guys. It's a really neat idea that they have, and it definitely helps you guys.
Yeah, check it out.
Check it out.
And if you guys are listening, it's Firehouse2, the number 247.com. All right.
Now it's time. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the old school tip of the day. Day. Take it away, Chief.
Okay. Anybody who knows me well knows that I'm not very politically correct. And in order to get this out, I'm going to read it. I can't possibly tell you this off the top of my head. So I'm going to look down and read it and follow along with me. And this is certainly geared at the younger firefighter or the new guy. So I thought I'd be a little bit different here since it's addressed to the young guy. I want to start out by saying this job owes you absolutely nothing. This job is 150-year plus history of pride, tradition, honor, and sacrifice. And we were all preceded by men better than you and I. I was 20 years old when I came on, and I sat at the kitchen table with men who were at the tail end of their career, who served in World War II, Korea, and the Vietnam conflict. Some of these men were recipients of Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Hearts, prisoners of war, and we even had a member who was a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. These are the same men who did this job during our war years of the 60s and 70s with subpar equipment and no SCBA. These guys paid a price in the battlefield as well on the fireground, and paid for it later in life with acute occupational illnesses. If you think this job is supposed to change to fit your personal needs or beliefs, you would be dead wrong. You are to change to fit it. I am the poster child of a guy through his entire career who has taken a beating, a pasting, and a ball busting of his life on a daily basis. It didn't hurt me one bit. And if I went till 08:30 in the morning, didn't have my balls busted, I thought something was wrong and I started it on myself. I welcomed it. So understand, today's hurt feelings mindset has no place in the fire service. Being trusted and respected is earned, not given. So much of the fun, laughter, and the jokes is all part of the building of the unit of cohesiveness and camaraderie, which is absolutely essential to what we do. It has been my experience that these antics build more morale rather than detract from it. This is not a job for children. It is a job for adults with a core, a soul, and a very thick spine. My suggestion to you is to check your feelings at the door and burn the hurt feelings reports and play this game the way it's intended to be played. Love this job, eat this job, breathe this job, and be the absolute best you can be at it each and every day that you come to work. I was a horrible student in school, too many sports and chasing women, but yet I managed to land on the top of every promotional exam I took because I invested in myself and pursued every possible angle I could to be the best I could be to achieve the level I wanted to be in the job I love to do. The point I am making is if I can do it, you can do it. Take advantage of every training opportunity you can. Pursue being assigned to the busiest companies you can be on. Keep your nose in the books and find good leaders and take a part of each and every one of them and mold yourself into a very special somebody that you want to be and you will not be denied. All of that being said, none of us, no matter how hard we try, will be able to give back to the fire service what it has given to us. That's what makes it the greatest job on earth. I have truly experienced this. If you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. And this can also be you. End story. That's it.
Wow.
I'm going to give it to him right now. I'm going to give him the Salty Award, the best old school tip of the day.
Pete,
You'll be getting
make
a call at
snippet
the
for
end.
me for tomorrow. I got to
You'll be
post
getting
that
a
up.
call at the end of the year. You're getting the Salty.
Don't worry, that the checks will cash I gave you guys. The payoff. Don't worry about it.
Good
Listen,
stuff.
that was
Chief.
well said, Chief, and it's
Great
something that we've said a lot on the show as well, but not as eloquently and not as thoroughly as you just did. So, thank you for that.
Well, you know, it has to come from the heart. You can't wing shit like this. If it's truly who you are or what you believe in, it just flows. You know, so it's not hard to do.
Chief,
What was Joey D's line, Lou?
Don't get on the job.
Get on the job. Get in the
Get
job.
into the job.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on our show, Chief. It was
Thanks for
our
having
pleasure.
me.
No, it was our pleasure. You are a gem.
I tell you, man, I'm really
Fire
starting to
service.
like these Jagoffs. I don't
I
know
like
what the
these.
hell's going on with them, but
Dude, we might
I
have.
don't know what the
I'll
fuck
tell you
is
what.
going on with these
I
guys.
have a whole plethora of Jagoffs.
Let's start sending these Jagoffs
Let's
our
go.
way.
It's 7101 Parnell. Believe me.
Cockloffs and
I got a
Jagoffs.
whole boatload of them.
All right. And you know what? We'll have one round table. We'll have like 3 or 4 Jagoffs on it.
I don't know if you can have more than
And I
one
mean that
Jagoff. I don't know what it's like.
in an endearing way.
Oh,
Of
we
course,
can have
of
one. It
course.
would be a total
Could
melee.
you imagine
first
those
of all.
4 guys?
No.
Oh my
But it'll be
God.
fun.
Chief, you have Timothy. Who'd you have? Hoff,
Hoff.
Chikarotis, and Crooker.
You know
Oh
what?
my
Crooker.
God, it'd be hilarious.
These guys are legends. Those 3 guys. I mean, you know what? I couldn't carry their dirty underwear. Just absolute iconic men and leaders and people to look up to.
That's
You
good
know,
stuff,
like I
man.
said,
Good
and
stuff.
I've taken a piece of all of them, of those that I've mentioned, to become who I am. So
Bravo, Chief. Speaking of legends, we will be partying on. There is no show Thursday, but Saturday is the Gettin Salty cruise around Manhattan with all the FDNY guests. Pete will be filming. It'll be fun. It'll be educational.
Chief, if you want to come on Saturday, you're welcome to come.
grab a flight and come on over.
grab a flight.
Yeah. Saturday is the cruise with the Gettin Salty cast. And take it away, Pete. What else you got, brother?
All right, very quickly, guys. I'm going to give you the usual spiel. We are on
Chief, just hang with us.
all
We'll
of
be out in a second. Sorry.
Yeah, we're on all of the audio players, guys, iTunes, podcast, Spotify, wherever the best podcasts are found, you will find us as well. YouTube.com/Gettin Salty Experience. If you are here, remember to like, subscribe, to share, please. It's not a lot to ask. I mean, the show is free. We bring you this Jagoff. We bring you other Jagoffs. We bring you all the Jagoffs.
Yeah.
And these guys, and this, after what this man just said right now, Chief, you know, like, guys, just hit that like, subscribe, and share so we can keep bringing you more. Instagram, guys, find us at Salty Dog Inc. on there, where you will find the saltiest curated fire photos in the game. That I promise you. GettinSaltyApparel.com. All right, that's where we sell our wares. Check us out there if you're in for a new hoodie or a t-shirt. Super chat, guys. Thank you guys so much for hitting us off tonight. It was really kind of everyone, the usual crew, and a whole bunch of new ones that I haven't seen before. If you're watching this post-mortem after the live show, that would be super thanks, and we thank you in advance for that. Facebook, guys, Gettin Salty fans page, way over 40,000 now, getting closer to 50. Great place to be. Lots of information shared, lots of stories being told. So head on over there. Gettin Salty ads, ADS at gmail.com. If you guys want to advertise on our show, just shoot me an email. I'll shoot you our spiel. GettinSaltyExperience@gmail.com if you have questions for the show and for the news shows we do. That's Cocklofts and Cocktails. Shoot us all of your fire photos, helmet cam footage, mustache photos, tattoos, rig photos, kitchen table photos, and don't forget we still have the hot old lady contest going, which I'm pretty sure Mrs. Procaccini's probably going to
definitely win. Yeah, nobody else has been sending them in. My man Procaccini's been sending them in like a madman. So
all right, well there you go. We're gonna have to throw her up on the next one. There you go.
I haven't seen one picture.
Oh! I'm sorry, I didn't share them. Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we're supposed to be 3 judges over here. What's
right. All right, we'll have them on the next show. And don't forget, we got a new segment coming up, Walking Through History. Chief Steve and I went out and about in New York City, filming on several locations. Got to send that to Pete. He'll edit it up and we'll get it out.
Yeah, we'll try.
First episode is Boss Tweed. All about Boss
Tweed. Yep. Maybe I'll put some of my luscious voice over it. Boss Tweed.
Yeah,
that snit will be awesome.
That snit will be next level.
Off the hook.
I thought it was a Chicago term. Snit, shit, whatever.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Okay,
all right,
that's all you got. You got any shout outs, Roof? You good?
No, I got nothing, baby.
All right, all those guys will see him. Oh, you okay? You don't got the sniffles, right?
No, I got the sniddles.
Oh, you got.
Now you were finally turning it into a fireman, Chief. Now he's getting it again. Now
Chief Crooker, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. Great time. We'll see all you guys Monday, right? Yep, Monday.
Monday. Yep.
Until then, stay low and go.
Chief, it was an absolute pleasure looking into your life, brother.
Pleasure.
You have a lot to be proud of.
Thank you very much. Pleasure and an honor.
All right, guys. We'll see you at the big one, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.